So it's meant to be fluid, just like the other plan is meant to be fluid, but it's a really good framework for Gail and Dan and Brent to be able to say, I'm moving it here, I don't need to do this year, or we really have to do it. I think moving forward with the bigger plan you have, make intentional choices on maintenance things that could get included in the bond funds or that you want to pull out. It's really good to have the cash on hand, but you're still going to have roof replacements at the middle school. That's just the time. You're going to have to be moving those things forward and replacing those. You're going to unfortunately have mechanical equipment coming up in the middle school also. You already had issues last winter, but you know that equipment's getting close to that age. So things like that just to be on the lookout for and making sure that you're budgeting, and you are budgeting right now to keep those top of mind. So just kudos on taking an extra level of attention to the detail and the maintenance components, because a lot of school districts miss that. They see the big shiny stuff and they say, sweet, let's go, and then don't have money for a roof replacement. So I hope this really helps in the planning and make sure that when you're talking to constituents and say, well, are you taking care of what you have? You can confidently say, yes, we are, because this is our plan for doing that. So
I'm afraid of this, just carry it around with me.
So do you offer any, like, with all the places you work with, you offer a buying cooperative at all?
for
Like, if we could join where all the other schools, and maybe if we needed to replace a rooftop, we could get a better deal on it.
no,
Okay.
and I don't think that really, I don't know of anything like that that exists. I know there's the state buying co-op, but I don't know if you really get that much better of a price on like mechanical equipment by going through it. If a district purchases that direct. Having a good specification and publicly bidding it will get you typically the best price for things like that.
Mr. President, we had a little bit of a glitch with our internet here. It kicked off after you started talking, and they had it back up and running now. If we need to review anything or which is on Sebastian, yeah, no, we're fine. And here is the plane, what we want to do.
Do we have a recorder on it? Do you have a video recorder on that whole thing?
So that is a sinking fund that Gail's been keeping, so yes, it is a part of the function. Yep.
I think, Brent, so everyone heard your question. You were asking about the field, is that correct?
Yeah.
The football field?
Yeah, so 2020, summer 2025 is when we had scheduled to replace the turf on football field.
Correct. So Gail has been strategically setting money aside for that project. And I believe,
It's $100,000 here.
Yep.
yes, and I believe, was it you or we looked into some quotes and we're gonna be fine.
Yeah, between 600,000 and 700,000.
Yes. Yes,
About 300,000 less than what we.
yeah. So we'll be fine with that, but, and that's really, I think that's a good example of what was happening previously where, you know, Gil has worked with the team to put things aside. But at the same time, this gives us a much cleaner picture of all the different pieces that we want to make sure that we put them, you know, that it's all there and that that's going to happen. The other thing which I have not, I don't know if this is on here, Patrick, but for example, we did have some hail damage and some things that'll be repaired through insurance on that. And so that's something that maybe we had, in some cases, maybe we had it done as a maintenance, it's going to be taken care of. In other cases, the example I'll use is the marquees that were damaged. We didn't have that down, and we'll be, you know, bringing that as something we have to improve. Yet another one that's going to cost us a little bit of money.
So we had a lot of damage from hail.
Yes, I believe the last estimate I saw was around $90,000. And so, but I think that didn't include, that was not including the marquees. The marquees were going to be on top of that. So the damage was, just since we're talking about maintenance and things, for example, a lot of our outbuildings that have the roofs not the school buildings, but the outbuildings had some damage. And then there's a whole list of other things, which if we haven't brought that to you, we'll bring that in the next meeting, so everybody can see what that is.
And just to be clear here, I people watching, which I'm sure there's 3 on here watching right now. We had an internet issue. Patrick just went through this Gilbert Community School kind of summary report. This will all be available for beautiful people to see. There was no discussions made during the time the internet was out. He was just presenting the findings. And again, this document will be available for everybody through our notes. But again, I apologize for the internet. We lost it for about 5-10 minutes, but nothing was voted upon, nothing was discussed. It was just Patrick presenting. So.
Great, it's very thorough, and it takes into account, I mean, our previous discussion, it looks like with regard to, we're gonna be bonding against some of the safe, so. That's
Yep.
been factored in for bond payments.
Yeah, and so that was Gail put in all those components and I added.
Yep.
Hey, here are the other things.
Clarification on this, so like under 26-27, the intermediate school. It's pink as a master plan project. Is that the de novo master plan, like the maintenance plan, or our plan that we're trying to come up with for facilities?
Sure, so when Gail sent me the snippet of what the projects were after last meeting, and it said intermediate school renovation. I didn't have any other color around that. So some of those pink items may or may not be included in the master plan activities. So when I said master plan activities, I was assuming that would be a part of the bigger things, but it doesn't look like there's a larger renovation happening. So
And
I can go back through there and change those to, a blue and then put some of those back as well, or that might be a discussion point with them going forward, saying, hey, we do have a lot of old electrical equipment in this building that needs replaced. Should we do that in that 26-27 at that time, or somewhere else in here? So
Yeah, I mean, what I'm looking at is how much of this stuff we need. It looks like just a list of $1 million worth of stuff that we don't need to do if we're gonna have a brand new building 2 years later. And is any of that,
for the intermediate.
yeah,
Oh, so is that
Yeah.
tearing? I was just, what I heard from Joe was that all this was staying.
It's staying.
Okay.
But we're looking ahead 10+ years. So
Sure.
what we're doing here, when we had that first phase over here, it's kind of the first phase, and then eventually, that's why we're getting rid of the football field.
Yep,
So eventually, 10 years down the road,
Built new.
building new.
got it. Okay.
So meaning this, yeah, we're gonna use this, it's gonna be here for,
Mhm.
there's a lot of ifs and buts.
Sure.
But eventually, we would like to have a new facility
Okay,
during our next go around with the bonds, 10 years down the road, or.
sure. And if that's the goal, obviously, you wouldn't need to do any of that, but you might be replacing panels
Yeah, yes.
at a certain point.
Yep.
If they go down or you can't find replacement equipment or anything for it.
So Josh, to your question, as you look at that, for example, number 17 on there says remodel the center restrooms. So that's something, if you recall, that's in part of the new project.
Yeah.
But a lot of the other things are not a part of those, and that's where we're gonna have to evaluate as we go along, because the money that we set aside for the immediate was more for the reno of where the district office is, the maintenance is, and the added on component. And so these projects to me would still be maintenance issues that we'll have to make sure we set aside moving into that. While we continue to evaluate to say, what does that look like? But it's not something that we've said, okay, this will all go away because we're gonna make these changes. The reno in the intermediate, while it's reno in those 2 spaces, a lot of it is new. And that's different than what's listed here. The one item I see on here is remodel those restrooms, and that is something that we talked about for new.
And yeah, there is no parallel discussions, I guess, between what was going on and what I'd seen here and what I'm bringing up. So just those
well,
are 2.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, they do need to come together at some point. So when that scope is identified and when those root components really do come to light, heck yeah, let's make sure that they're all aligned so that financially we're all on the same page.
If you would anticipate, I mean, doing this every year, just keeping this up,
Correct.
right?
That is keeping it alive. It's a
Yep.
live document. If you recall, part of the reason why is that of no fault of anyone's, it's just how it was, is that sometimes the project right in front of us was the one that was getting funded, rather than having a strategic plan to say, when we look at facilities, let's plan it out, let's budget for it, and we know what's coming. And so that's what we're doing. That's why I'm so grateful to Patrick and DeNovo to come back and help us go through that. I'm very grateful to Gail for, as she's budgeting all these pieces. And then, of course, everybody on the team that's doing the work to say, oh, this is the next thing that needs to happen, and this is the next thing. Dan, Brent, everybody else. They're completely part of that as well. Thanks.
Any other questions for Patrick?
No, but thanks. This is.
I agree. Good work, Patrick.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, very nice. Whatever we pay, it isn't enough for that.
And just so everyone knows, we keep telling Patrick he needs to move up here.
Yeah.
It's part of the Gilbert.
Come on, Patrick, run up.
I'll talk to Ellen.
That's right. Let Ellen.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks, Patrick. Great job.
Thank you,
Good
Patrick.
job.
Appreciate you.
Grant Walker's he's still sitting here watching this board. Good job, Grant. Appreciate it. You waiting on something here? Moving along, all right, old business. We've got a lot of policies we're gonna discuss here, but we're gonna pull out some of these, I guess, in your handouts. You'll see Christine has some ones we're gonna discuss, but I'm gonna try to pull these out as we're gonna vote on them here. So the first group of policies, I believe are just, there's no really updates, it's just kind of updating the terms, the years on, is that correct? There's no real major changes in this first cluster. Again, series 600, 700, 800, 900 policies. You'll see all the policies listed there. And again, no major changes in this first kind of.
Well, that's the rescinded policies, right?
Oh, sorry,
So,
rescinded.
yeah, they're the ones that, and remember, this all comes from ISSB. They're making the recommendation. Our policy committee has gone through them to the best of our ability. And the whole idea is that we're gonna bring all the policies up to a point, and then we'll have them all updated, and then from there, we'll get the new changes that come again from the legislature just closing.
And the one policy though, I think you want to hit on is at 605.7. Is that correct in these rescinded ones?
Correct. So 605.7 was staff use of electronics and internet. And they're recommending that we remove this policy and that it's really a practice that needs to be in our handbook. And so that's the one with, and so what I've done in your packet that you have, I kind of put it on here. And then if you wanted to go in and read it, you could just pull it right here and take a look at it, just so it's really easy for you in front of you.
Any other comments, questions on the first group of rescinded policies? And if nothing else, I will take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Yeah,
Melissa's-
second.
Oh, Melissa seconded already.
Ain't that a girl, Melissa?
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Bye.
Opposed? All right, first group of rescinded policies passes. We've got a second group coming up here. These are some new policies. And I believe, again, there's two on here that Christian wants to hit on, 200.04 and 603.9.
Okay, so policy 200.4 is a new policy. I just wanted to make you aware of this. This is a new policy about board members and social media engagement. It really just highlights that you need to just be aware that there is a policy now, that it talks about that you're in the unique position of being a part of the community and being responsive to what happens on social media, which probably in your own work, it's not anything new, but I just wanted you to be aware that it's there. The responsibility is that you agree to act in the best interest of the district, which you already do. So that's 200.4. And then the other one I wanted to highlight is
603.9.
603.9 is a new policy that provides, this is kind of an interesting one. The way it's worded is provides information on teaching controversial issues. I just want you to know that policy's in there, and it states that facts will be taught, offering conflicting views, and it is done so in an honest manner. So if you just look at 603.9, it's not anything, I don't believe it's intended to be controversial. It's just something that's new that's come forward that said, how do we define a controversial issue? And then are teachers teaching it? Are they offering conflicting viewpoints? Are they teaching it honestly and trying to be objective? It's what the policy states there. So it's saying the board is encouraging full discussion of the issue in the spirit of academic freedom that shows the students that they have the right to disagree with the opinions of others and the responsibility to stick to the facts and respect of others holding different opinions. So that is that new policy that's there.
Any questions on those new policies? If not, I will take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
So
And I just to be clear too, I think we are waiving the third reading. Is that correct in your
Yes.
motions? Okay, and the same thing in the motion before. I think you had the motion. Okay, so waiving the third reading on both of these. So I forgot to make note of that last time. Okay, so we had a motion by Jeff and a second by Josh on this one. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right, motion passes. Next one, I think we've got these are some updates on some current ones.
Correct.
Oh, no, we had a couple more of the new policies. Sorry, I'm gonna go back to that one, Christine, just so you can hit on them. I know we
That's
voted on
fine.
already. But there was 804.6, 903.4.
Oh, yes.
And 903.5. So again, we voted on this already, it's passed, but just I want you to hit on a couple of these as well.
804.6, 903.4, what was the other one?
905.1.
Gotcha. Okay. Not the 804.6 is the policy on the use of a recording device on school property. This is a new policy. We have made some changes on this through our legal counsel. And so we're making sure it's aligned with what we're doing. And so you will see in your packet 804.6 is the recommendation from legal counsel to make sure that it meets our practices and what we're doing. So that's important that we know that. 903.4 is a new policy. This is an important one. This speaks to public conduct on school premises. It reads in the policy that the board expects students, employees, and visitors that will treat each other with respect, engage in responsible behavior, and exercise self-discipline and model fairness, equity, and respect. So this is one that has come forward. It's important that the public conducts themselves, how to conduct themselves on school premises. That's an important one.
Hey,
That-
Christine,
go
real
ahead.
quick, yeah, I that question down, you go ahead. If you want.
So that one talks about school premises, so in person, but would it cover virtual as well? Or for example, Zoom or emails, or how far does
Yes.
this one reach?
Let me take a look at that.
Yeah, I actually had the exact same question, that whole conduct on school premise, I just didn't know where that. The way I read it.
The way I read the policy, it's how they treat staff, and I think that means anytime you interact with staff, but I don't want to speak without reading the policy right in front of me. So here we go.
in the second paragraph, it means individual permitted to attend school sponsored or approved activities. And a Zoom meeting is a school sponsored.
That's right.
activity.
You are correct, Josh. So that's exactly right. So it's when someone is attending a school sponsored or approved activity. So if they were on a conference, anything, an email, those are all things that we're talking back and forth that it would be important that guests of the school district must comply with the school district's rules and policies. And not be allowed to interfere with the disruption of the educational program or activity. Visitors are expected to display mature, responsible behavior. And the failure of individuals to do so is not only disruptive, but embarrassing to the students, the school district, and the entire community. So it talks about, also it goes into protecting the rights of students to participate in activities without fear of interference or disruption, and to permit the school officials, employees, and activity sponsors and officials to perform their duties without interference or disruption. So if it involved disruptive female, that would be a disruption of the educational process. That would, the way I would interpret that, if that is included in that. Verbal, abusive verbal or physical conduct of individuals directed at students, school officials, employees, officials, and activity sponsors. Approved activities at any other will not be tolerated. And the second point there goes into verbal or physical conduct of individuals that interferes with the performance of students, school officials, employees, officials, or activity sponsored events or approved activities will not be tolerated. And then, as you can see there, the use of vulgar, obscene, or demeaning expression directed at students, school officials, employees, officials, or activity sponsors, sponsored or approved activities participating in the sponsored or approved activity and all other individuals will not be tolerated. So you can see it outlines it there.
Do you think we need to, I mean, again, this has been approved, we're okay with it. Do you think at some point we need to maybe speak to legal or someone just about social media, again, emails and all that to be more clear on that? Because again, and the reason I say that is when it says on school premise, and I think if you can, as you read deeper into it, you can interpret it certain ways, but I think we can make that more clear.
Absolutely.
I would just think
It's fine that it's approved right now.
Yeah.
And then, so that gets us uploaded to this point. And then what we'll do is we'll take it to legal and bring it back.
social
as a
media,
change.
emails, anything, because again, that's the biggest issue right now, in my mind,
Absolutely.
more so than verbal or on site.
And even Zoom or
Yep.
anything like that. So absolutely, I'll reach out to our legal counsel.
Perfect.
Bring it back.
And clarify the school's response. Yeah.
Great. Okay, any other questions about that? And then I just have that last new one there. I'm just bringing it to your attention. We've already talked about it. Policy 905. The community use policy is there. That's an updated policy with updated fees that we're sharing with our community, that we are getting back to having the fees go in place. If they're utilizing our facilities, making sure they have insurance, making sure we know who's responsible for the building, who's cleaning the building. And so that is an updated policy with the new fees.
Thank you, Dr. Trio. I apologize, I jumped ahead there, but again,
No problem.
changes.
No, that's good.
I was involved in past there. So the next group is just some more revisions of some policies. I think there's 601.1 school calendar, 605.2 instructional and library materials, and 605.3. I think you wanted to add on those three.
Correct. So 601.1 is just, I think we're all aware of this, but it's the policy has a few changes in it, that the start of school cannot begin prior to August 23rd. And the board is required to hold a public hearing prior to the school calendar being approved. So the dates were a little bit different in there, but that's all been changed, and we're all set for next year, so no worries there. But just so you know that piece, somebody says, why did we wait till that date? That is why it is policy, and then it has to do with making sure everybody has time to attend the state fair. So, which I love. And so, okay, policy 605.2, selection of library materials. We have a okay. So this has some changes in it. We currently have a process in place for the selection of library materials. We'll be bringing this back to you as well. This is one that we're gonna, if you were to approve that tonight, we're waiting on guidance from the state because of some decisions the legislature made to make sure that we're aligned with our library materials, and that we have a process in place that aligns with what the legislature did will be coming. But that is, we do have a process in place now, which then leads me to 605.3, which is if a parent objects to a book in our libraries, we have a current practice in place, and We have a great team that has gone through that process and has worked very well. However, now we have more guidance coming out of the legislature, a little more specific about what that should look like. And we'll be bringing that back to you as well. So just giving you a heads up about those.
One more too on there, Christine, it's 711.2, student conduct on school transportation.
Yes, in 711.02, it states in there that it currently reads the building principal will have the authority as it relates to anything around suspension from the bus, videos on the bus, and what that looks like. And I just am adding the piece of the principal and or the director of transportation. So it's more collaborative, or if one's not available, the other one is. So it's just a small little addition to that.
Do I have a motion to approve the second reading and waive the third reading on these policies? Motion. Josh on the first, do I have a second?
A second.
Melissa seconds, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Last group of policies here is just updates on legal references. I don't think we have anything to discuss here. Unless you want to discuss it. Am I correct there, Christine?
That's correct.
So do I have a motion to approve?
Yep.
Second, and again, be clear, we're waiving the third reading, Jeff?
Yep.
Same with you, Tyler?
Yep.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you very much. We are done with the policy portion of the meeting. All right, new business. Consider approval of the high school band choir request for a trip to Orlando, Florida, March of 2024.
See, Tanner is here. Do you have any?
Yeah, you want me to share some information?
Of course.
Sure.
Um,
Waited patiently.
Yeah, you've been here 2 hours.
Get an award.
So my name is Tanner Sutton, and I just finished up my first year here at Gilbert as a high school choir teacher. Loved every minute of it. And so I'm here on behalf of me and Mr. Tinder. We have a trip planned through group dynamic tours for the spring break of 2024. We're planning to leave Monday, March 11th and return Sunday, March 17th, which does. I'll make for some tired kids on Monday, March 8th. But the cost of that trip is, has been quoted for $1,685 per student, which includes 4 nights at Disney's Off Century Resort, 2 nights in suburban Atlanta. Because we're gonna break up the trip and not make it a 22-hour trip or whatever that would be. 3-day admission to Disney World. Oh, I guess did I say that? That is, I don't know this that, but going to 3 days at Disney with park hopping privileges. The band's gonna get a clinic at Disney, and the choir is going to do a performance at a senior living center in the area. Just that's something that they did I think the last year that they took and loved it, so we're gonna do that again. It includes $175 worth of Disney dining cards, so you get that money back. And they have the chance to do like trip insurance if they want, and add on Disney gift cards if they would like as well. This is open to any student, incoming 9th through 12th grader who's in band and or choir. Yeah, any options, I guess.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
That was like, is it a bus trip?
it is a bus, yeah.
Well, they follow it.
That doesn't sound ideal, but it will be.
Yeah,
Oh, you'd be all right.
Yeah, it'll be fine. And there, yeah, they can.
Yeah, but you're not.
Right. Really get up there, but.
How many do you anticipate going, or what would you anticipate for numbers?
So that quote is for 90 students, somewhere between 90 and 100 students, yeah. I don't know, both the band and choir numbers have gone up considerably this year, and so there's a chance that those numbers could be higher than that. But that's what the quote is for. And we got a quote, just to give you an idea, we got a quote from another company that was like at $2,200 per student. So this is a really great deal. And Ames is doing the same trip through another company for, I think, around $2,300.
So do you have a mechanism in place if somebody can't afford it?
We don't have, so the discussions have been had with the fine arts boosters on that, but we don't have like anything set in place for that yet.
Have you guys done this trip before, or is this a new?
I think Byron said that he has done this trip. Maybe one of his first years here, and we haven't traveled for a while just because of COVID.
Sure.
And so, and a lot of things have happened, plus COVID, and then Karen Rogers retiring last year. I think they were planning on doing it this spring break, so it's been quite a while since Gilbert has traveled.
Man deserves a trip and the choir.
Yeah, we're gonna wanna make
They're
sure
awesome.
that if somebody needs help, we can help. Somehow.
Yeah, we'll follow up and see what that looks like, because we want to make sure everybody gets the
I
opportunity.
really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Second for Jeff. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Well, good, have fun in Orlando.
Yeah, thank you. Have fun.
Thank you.
And welcome.
Yes, yes.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, next one. Consider approval for the Gilbert FFA chapter request to attend the 23 National FFA Leadership Conference in Indianapolis, Indiana, October 31st through November 3rd. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next one, consider approval, district audit RFP for fiscal years ending June 30th, 24, 25, and 26. Again, you'll see the bids in there. We had one company bid. Pricing has gone up the next 3 years as we paid the past 3 years. But again, we went to 5 or 6 different accounting firms and one responded to the RFP.
Is that normal to have that many non-responsive?
Do you know what's going on there?
I think we've been hearing that there's less and less companies willing to do
Correct.
school audits.
What Gail, and just, I don't know that we said that, but Gail is under the weather, which is why she's not here this evening. But Gail had said that, yes, more and more companies are not really wanting to get into school finance auditing. And so that is just, that number's dwindling, and we had one respond, and that's where we are, so.
Yeah, you're gonna keep an eye on it, because something else could have happened.
They'll probably write us up for that when we have one bid.
The iron.
I'm moved to accept this, but
Second.
Further discussion?
that's who we're with now, right?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next one, consider approval for the resolution directing expenditures of the school flexibility fund, which again, the public forum we opened up the meeting with today was we discussed. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Consider approval of the 3-year driver education instructional contract with Toronis Driving Academy LLC. This is June 1 of 23 through May 31 of 26. And I believe we also have one other contract in place.
We do. The other contract comes up in the consent agenda because it's an ongoing contract. This one is new, which is why it's a new business. It's a new company. And they came to us and said they want to support our kids, and so here they are. I already see their cars out driving and taking our kids around, so.
We'd have 2 options.
We do. It allows parents to have a choice. We did not sign an exclusive with either of them.
Right.
So that parents could, do whatever works best for them.
And here it says for providing the entire driver education program and related services for the district. Does it say somewhere else that this is not, or it's not exclusive?
I don't know if it says it anywhere else, Josh, but both, this contract and the other one was vetted through our legal counsel, as well as that is the conversation that we had with the Toronis's, so that the Toronis Driving Academy and Street Smarts, but they're not exclusive.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Yep.
Second.
Second. Melissa, further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Last one is not an action item, but just every year we need to review the parent and family engagement policy, the two teacher, student, parent compact. And again, we review this every year. There's no vote needs to be in there or be on the meeting tonight. But again, those policies are listed right in our handbook. So
It's a requirement for federal funding to be sure that we have those policies and that we're aware of them.
any questions on that? Jason Holton's gonna give an update on the financials right now, right, Jason?
Nope.
Any questions on the financials? Gail is not here, obviously, to answer probably the detailed questions, but
She did say that if you had any questions, if you wanted to email her, she'd be happy to answer them, but
I didn't see something about where projected to be $1 million short on revenue.
I didn't hear what you said, John.
we're projected to be $1 million short on revenue. It says year-to-date revenues reflecting a shortfall of 1.2 million. Property taxes, tuition, state and federal sources. So most of that I saw was on the property taxes. Delinquencies, so.
So it'll come, but expenses are also that much. Lower.
Also, I don't know if that's the same, but I know that in Gail's update, it said that she's currently doing billing for some of those. Just a second, what's that? Yes, department updates. So it talks about open enrollment billing. She has that in there, so that may also have an impact on that. So. But if you have a question about that, I can have her reach out about that.
Feel better, Gail. Anything else on the financial reports? Moving along, consent agenda. Anything need to be pulled, discussed? If not, I will take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
I.
Opposed? Consent agenda passes. Next meeting is July 17th, same time, same place. And I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Job on the financials, Jason.
Thank you. $1.2 million.